Hey everybody, this is Bill Robertson. I'm your latecomer. Today I'm a latecomer to True Detective Season 1 from HBO 2014. I've been looking forward to seeing this for several years now. I've heard nothing but good things about it. I had several friends recommend it. I'm here at Russ's again.
Hello. Hi.
And gonna watch everything on his sweet setup. And Season 1 of True Detective with Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey. This is actually only the third time those two have appeared together in a, well, this isn't a film, but they started off in, 1999 with Ed TV.
True.
Which came out around the same time as
The Truman Show.
The Truman Show. And they were kind of like both reality show type movies, I think. I don't know. I haven't seen either one. I'm a latecomer to those two. See how much of a latecomer I am. And then the next time those two were together was just in 2008 in some movie called Surfer, Dude. Surfer, Dude. Like, I don't know that movie. Do you know that movie?
I don't.
I've been looking forward to this for a long time. One of the proof's in the pudding. It's got like a 9.1 on IMDb, 75% on the tomato meter on Rotten Tomatoes, and with an 86% audience rating. 87% audience rating, and it's been nominated for 4 Golden Globes. Has not won, as far as I know. Other than the Golden Globes, it has been nominated 56 times in several other award ceremonies, and received 30 wins.
Impressive.
Very impressive. The first season's shot on film, so that's kind of rare these days.
Love it.
The pilot episode of Season 1, which we're watching, had like 11 point some million viewers, which made it HBO's most watched pilot, I guess, since 2001. And I'm guessing in 2001 that could have been like Sopranos time, couldn't it? Like, I don't know.
Could be. I'm thinking it is. I'm thinking Sopranos because it was pretty gosh darn popular.
Seems like it was on for a long time too, like 9 seasons. But anyway, True Detective is an anthology series, so every season's its own story with its own cast. From what I've heard, Season 2 didn't do anywhere near as good as Season 1 did. So we'll see how Season 1 goes, and then if we're brave, we'll watch Season 2. But we're gonna break open my build a 6-pack that I got today, and check a couple episodes out. We'll be back. Holy cow! True Detective Season 1.
Big sigh.
Is good.
It's good.
We love it.
We do.
We do.
Our copious notes say so.
We have sat around and dissected this show too much, and we're probably going to do some more. But at this point, we're going to try and give you a boiled down version of what we come up with. And if you're a thinking man, like I think you are, I think you're going to like this.
Tell him, Bill.
It's going to give you stuff to think about.
Give him some Jesus, Bill.
True Detective seems to be a story of awakening from the Matrix, taking the red pill and wakening up.
And ping pong plot, as we've called it.
Ping pong plot. Ping pong plot, we've dubbed it. There's a lot of ping pong plotting along in this picture. This is a classic detective story, a whodunit thing. We followed the breadcrumbs down the rabbit hole to figure out how some murders happened. That's what happens in True Detective. It's not what it's about, but that's what happens in True Detective. What we're dealing with is a murder mystery, and we're led to believe that it's satanic. The characters, most of the characters in the story, automatically classify this murder as satanic, and as a consequence we see a lot of satanic imagery in the background as these first 3 episodes play out. We see some upside down crosses, we see witches, we don't necessarily see them blatantly, but if you're paying attention to the background, you see things that lead you to believe that
it's a cult.
Yeah, that satanic evil is afoot. But we don't know that to begin with. We don't know that right now. Right now, we're going down the rabbit hole happily. It's some kind of satanic ritual murder, and everybody's evil, including the church, even though we're told that it's a war on Christianity. Satanism is afoot, and that's where everybody's mind initially goes, except for Rustin Spencer Cole.
Yeah, he's pretty solid.
He believes this is just your run-of-the-mill serial murder.
Why homicide?
Oh, something I saw at North Shore. Quote from Corinthians. The body is not one member, but many. Now, are they many, but of one body?
What's that mean, though?
I was just trying to say a part of the body now.
The stuff that I like best about True Detective is a lot of the philosophy that happens in it. There's a lot of, in my mind anyway, Gnostic knowledge being conveyed, a lot of spirituality, a lot of spiritual development. I feel like Woody Harrelson goes through a process of spiritual awakening. Matthew McConaughey's character's already gone through the ringer. He lost his young daughter. Then his marriage fell apart and his wife left. Then he decided that life wasn't worth living anymore, so he became an undercover cop,
Yep.
or an agent really, not just a cop, but like a narcotics agent. He went through a lot. He even ended up shot and in the hospital for a while. And then when he came out, he was given the option of full retirement. But he said, nope, give me homicide anywhere. I'll take homicide assignment anywhere. And they put him in Louisiana on the same team as Woody Harrelson's Marty Hart character. And that's where the story picks up, is when they're brand new partners in 1997. But Rustin Cole, he's already awakened at that point. He's gone through hell. And now he's just, with all the drugs that he did as an undercover agent, everything he's been through, all the trauma and tragedy, he's very pessimistic now. Doesn't seem to have much regard for life. But he's fascinated by trying to figure out these terrible crimes that man commits against himself. As a matter of fact, what does it say on the inside of the Blu-ray case? Man is the cruelest animal, I think.
Pretty sure. Yep.
Man is the cruel. Like, that's pretty much Cole's philosophy. And so he's like, gnostically, spiritually speaking, he's already gone almost all the way through spiritual awakening. The only problem that he has is he's stuck on being a pessimist. He's angry, self-loathing, he drinks all the time, too much, and he's basically got a death wish, really. And by pairing him up with Marty Hart, with Woody Harrelson's character, Marty Hart gets put through a 17-year process of slow spiritual Gnostic awakening. And that's probably my favorite part of this show. Marty Hart, played by Woody Harrelson, who's one of both of them, but one of today's great actors, I think.
Agreed.
Love Woody Harrelson, love Matthew McConaughey. So the two of them together, it's two great tastes. It tastes great together, like peanut butter and chocolate. Marty Hart is your typical white bread, middle class America, good Christian, good neighbor, living the blue collar lifestyle to the T. He's under the illusion that he's living the perfect life, and he has a family. He's got a wife, pretty wife, two cute little gorgeous little daughters, and he's got the all-American perfect life, but he's cheating. He's on the side, he's got the court stenographer that he goes and visits every once in a while, and to him that's just how you maintain a good family, is you got to go blow off some steam with a strange girl once in a while. That makes your family stay together, because you get to go take care of get to go spread your seed elsewhere. I don't know. Anyway, basically he's living a lie. The American dream, the lifestyle, it's a lie, and he's epitomizing it by putting it on in the first place, and then, you know, on the sly, living a lie. So what Marty Hart does by working with Cole is he's got the potential to be a true detective, and Cole wakes up the true detective in him after a 17-year-long process of self-realization and
lots of stumbles.
He has a lot of stumbles, but that's the way it is. Again, the Gnostic process of awakening is you're in the dark and you keep running into stuff and it knocks you over and you take steps backwards and eventually you finally get a spiritual realization. And it takes him a good 17 years, but he gets there. But that's the process of this show. Over 8 episodes, which occur over the process of 17 years, he wakes up. Finally, at the end, he wakes up and he finally can have a good relationship. Although it's with his partner, Cole, he never really gets a good relationship with his wife, with any of the girlfriends that he has on the side, even his daughters. He doesn't have good relationships with them. All the girls in his life, he's ruined his relationship. Even with the agency, he eventually leaves the agency.
Yep. Why? Do you remember why?
He was on a case, and it was a drug case, I think.
Yep.
And somebody put their baby in a microwave.
That's so disturbing.
Very
was
disturbing.
The last straw for Marty.
That's when he quit. And he went on and he just opened his own private detective agency, and that's where he is after 17 years from the time that him and Cole first meet. And but so all of his relationships he's failed at. and it's mostly because he doesn't know himself. And that's the process of the waking up, is eventually he finally gets to know himself. He finally realizes the kind of man that he is.
This pipeline is covering up this coast like a jigsaw. The place is going to be underwater in 30 years.
You wonder ever you're a bad man?
No, I don't wonder, Morty. The world needs bad men. We keep the other bad men from the door.
From the beginning, Cole never lets this case go. He's known what it was right from the get-go. As soon as he sees the dead girl in the beginning of the first episode, who was killed in a ritualistic way, where Hart and the rest of the agency are like, "Oh, that's satanic. That's a satanic killing."
Yep.
And Cole knew different. He knew that this was something more than that.
And he tells the audience every time he has something to say about the killer, the villain, the arch-villain, it's always right.
And the thing is Marty Hart, Woody Harrelson, always in the back of his mind, even though he gives Cole a lot of crap for his ideas, you get that out of one of your books. Every time Cole has one of these, revelations or gives him a bit of information about the case or whatever, Hart will give him a hard time about it. But I think deep down, Hart's like, yeah, you're right.
There's many scenes where Hart is left looking pissed off, but he's looking like he's thinking about what Rustin is saying.
Yep, he's a true detective at heart. Cole's already a true detective, and he brings out the true detective in his old partner, Marty Hart.
I think human consciousness was a tragic misstep in evolution. We became too self-aware. Nature created an aspect of nature separate from itself. We are creatures that should not exist by natural law.
That sounds god-fucking awful, Russ.
We are things that labor under the illusion of having a self, this accretion of sensory experience and feeling. Programmed with total assurance that we are each somebody, when in fact everybody's nobody.
I wouldn't go around spouting that shit I was you. People around here don't think that way. I don't think that way.
I think the honorable thing for our species to do is deny our programming. Stop reproducing. Walk hand in hand into extinction. One last midnight, brothers and sisters opting out of a raw deal.
So, what's the point of getting out of bed in the morning?
I tell myself I bear witness. The real answer is that it's obviously my programming. And I lack the constitution for suicide.
My luck, I picked today to get to know you. Every 3 months, I don't hear a word from you, and
You asked.
yeah, and now I'm begging you to shut the fuck up.
Disc 2 of True Detective's Blu-ray box set, episodes 4, 5, and 6 out of 8 total episodes, is what I like to call in story structure, the belly of the whale. Everybody's at their lowest point. It's Luke, Han, and Chewie taking the Millennium Falcon into the Death Star and ending up in the trash compactor to save Princess Leia and the plans. This is where everybody is really, it looks like it's curtains for everybody. Mr. Hart has been discovered cheating on his wife, so his wife takes the kids and leaves him. So he moves in with his good friend, Cole, and by good friend I mean they tolerate each other. As a duo, the two detectives, Cole and Hart, have been told by the Major that they are out of time. He's got people over his head breathing down his neck for an answer to this case. They want a case closed. Cole and Hart keep chasing clues and not getting an answer, so the case is taken out of their hands and given to a special task force, and they're told you're going on some other assignment. So, what they have to do now is lie, cheat, and steal, because they're true detectives and they're going to get to the bottom of this case, whether it kills them. Well, at least Cole is. Hart's kind of along for the ride. Like I said earlier, the belly of the whale. Since Hart gets tossed out by his wife for being a philanderer, he gets angry and he decides to let out his inner true detective. He follows some clues. He gets to a stripper. He follows a stripper to a rave. He talks to her pimp boyfriend and gets some information. Finds out that it is a biker gang that is the next step to getting to Reggie Ledoux.
Yes.
Okay, so
who's an exclusive cook for the biker gang.
Right. And so, because he was so angry at his wife leaving him for cheating, or throwing him out for cheating, he was able to move the case along. And what they have to do is go into the projects of, they're in Texas now, right?
Beaumont, Texas.
Beaumont, Texas. And they go into the projects and they're going to steal a bunch of drugs, and Cole has to go along with it. And meanwhile, he has Hart out in the squad car, like up the street a little ways as his escape. And it leads to a really cool single take. How long? We timed it, Russ. How long was that single take?
It was over 5 minutes.
It was a really long single take of a big gunfight chase scene through the projects that eventually ends up in Hart coming in and rescuing them. But anyway, their mission is accomplished. They've escaped with the little bit of information that they need. This informant, this biker gang leader by the name of Ginger, who's going to be their in to get the hookup with Reggie Ledoux, and this is how they eventually end up solving the case. Once they solve the case, Cole and Hart have a period of 7 years of happiness, essentially. Cole even gets a girlfriend for a little while and seems to be relatively happy. Hart gets back together with his wife. Everything's good for a while, but it falls apart again because Hart still doesn't know himself, still can't maintain a relationship. He's not a family man, even though he's pretending to be, and eventually ends up having another girlfriend. She's sending him nudies on his cell phone, and his wife finds out, and then she leaves him for good. And I think that's pretty much how we end disc 2.
2012.
Which is the time of the interviews that the whole show's been framed around so far. Now Hart is a private investigator. He's single. And Cole moved back to Alaska for a little while and then eventually moved back because he's still obsessed with his case. And he's not quitting on it. And now what he's got to do is get Hart involved again, because Hart's got this private investigation firm that he runs all by himself, and he needs him to help him out, to be his cover, to be his helper. He's the one who knows the most about it, and he trusts him, even though they hate each other. And that brings us to the final act, the last 2 episodes on Disc 3.
You know, I think about my daughter now. You know what she was spared. Sometimes I feel grateful. Doctor said she didn't feel a thing. Went straight into a coma. And then somewhere in that blackness, she slipped off into another, deeper kind. Isn't that a beautiful way to go out? Painlessly. As a happy child. Yeah, the trouble with dying later is you've already grown up. Damage is done. It's too late. You got kids? I think of the hubris it must take to yank a soul out of non-existence into this meat, and to force a life into this thresher. As to my daughter, she spared me the sin of being a father.
Which brings us to Disc 3. And Disc 3 is the final 2 episodes of the show. And it wraps it up in spectacular fashion in modern day 2012. Cole and Hart reconcile, kinda. And basically they're going on a suicide mission into the lair of the guy that they finally figure out is the baddie, the big baddie. And he's pretty twisted, sick, kind of Silence of the Lambs Hannibal Lecter type. Living out in the bayou in the old farmhouse, family farmhouse. And what it's revealed, even though in the beginning you think it's satanic ritualism, and then you're kind of led to believe it's a cover-up by the church, some kind of pedophile ring. And eventually what you find out is it's a bunch of rich and powerful people trying to cover up for their inbred, retarded second cousin who lives on the family farm who's got sick and twisted hobbies. He works for the church as a maintenance man, and he's right there where he can keep his eye on the little kiddies at school at recess and at church, and he's in the perfect spot, and his family covers up for him and allows it to continue. But that's who Cole and Rust eventually track down and put a stop to his shenanigans. And he practically murders Cole with a knife.
Yeah.
And almost Hart as well. He's practically a superhuman, and he pretty much guts Cole. For a dark series, it actually has a pretty happy ending. Everybody lives, even though, you know, at the end it looks like it's curtains for both of them.
Yeah.
They do survive. They do get the bad guy. They put him down like the sick dog he is, and it looks like it's curtains for our heroes. And Cole, who wants it to be curtains, he even lives. He tries to die. He even says when he's out and in the hospital and unconscious and they're stitching his guts back together, he even says that he sees his daughter and his father in the afterlife, and they hold out their hand to him and he takes it. He willfully takes that step, but then he wakes up. He says, I'm not supposed to be here.
Why?
Well, because Mr. Hart,
Mr. Marty Hart
wills him back to life. He's his only pal now. Marty finally forms a real relationship with somebody, and through the power of love, he pulls him back from the edge. And it doesn't seem like Cole's real happy about still being alive, but at least he's got a true detective pal now in Hart, and maybe they'll go and continue being those stars that they talk about in the sky. There's the light's winning, and these two, even though they're questionable and immoral at times, they're good guys. They're lights, they're stars, and probably the reason they're still alive after this harrowing experience that they go through is because The world needs them. For me, like I said earlier, the philosophy that they lay down, the journey that they go through, their, like, especially Cole's outlook. I really identified with Cole. Like, I must be quite a pessimist, because pretty much everything Cole said, from his philosophy about the hubris of pulling a life from nothingness into this thresher of a world, like, yeah, I get it.
I identify.
Yep.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Rust. But at the same time, when he realizes, at the end that there is light, me as a pessimist myself, I was just like, yeah, you're right, there is.
There is light. Life, we're here because it's worth it. And while we're here, we should do some good, because there's a lot of doing some bad. There's a lot of people that don't realize that doing bad is the wrong thing to do. But that's life, good and bad, the struggle, the fight, and it produces what we have today. It produces happiness, it produces sadness, but life keeps on rolling until Planet X smashes into us anyway.
Saturday is the day. We're all doomed.
Maybe you won't even see this video. But here's a fun fact. See this t-shirt? Been wearing it a lot. You know why? Because it's taken us about 3 weeks to film this. Little behind the scenes trivia for you. The next time you're out with your friends and you're all talking about Latecomer and Russ and Bill and how much you love us. All three of you.
Yes.
I did launder it. I did launder it. But anyway, True Detective Season 1 gets all our thumbs up, our big toes. We love that freaking show, and it's worth watching again and again, because there's so much you can get from it.
Lots of detail, yes.
And that's the best kind of movie, the best kind of TV show, is that you can watch it repeatedly, add it to your collection, and watch it again and again, because there's, like the Bible, lots of hidden layers of meaning and enjoyment and even personal comfort.
Agreed.
Anyway, that's our review and analysis of True Detective Season 1. Go out right now and buy the Blu-ray box set. It's a deal. Do it. And we'll see you next time. Toodles.